by popular demand, Faith Goldy Unplugged. We had a lot of positive feedback to my Periscope yesterday, and folks that they wanted more of my daily thoughts, sort of unplugged, unedited, etc. And I want to start off with a little bit of a personal story. This weekend marked 5 years since my mom passed away from metastasized breast cancer. Now, as some of you know, I used to be a smoker, and I actually quit smoking because, you know, living with the reality of an ailing mother makes someone not want to put their family through that. And I have to say, I sort of regret it now, because I enjoyed smoking, and despite my best efforts, I still got cancer from listening to Canadaland's little podcast today, where they went on. It was Jessie Brown and Nora, whatever the hell her last name is. This is the same girl who looked at the many young men who were killed inside that bus crash in Canada and started citing their white privilege, and that's the reason why the whole country cared about the fact that these young men were killed. So those two were ranting on about the yellow vests / the United We Rule convoy into Parliament Hill. And the moral of the story, kids, is that if you talk about immigration, well, that makes you an anti-Semite. And if you talk about immigration, well, then you're a, quote, literal fascist, according to Nora over there. And it's so weird because there's all this attack from racists all over, you know. In one case, it's these big, scary, normal people coming from out west, normal Joe six-packs, who just because they care about things like the UN taking over their immigration policy, that makes them anti-Semites. Now, all the way over to, you know, America with Jussie Smollett. All right, that's right, that was fake. I want to tell you about a real racist verbal attack that occurred within Ontario's legislature this week that has garnered exactly zero outrage. You want to know why? Well, because the victim was a white male and the perpetrator was a black female. Okay, so this week there was a protest inside, it shouldn't really be a place for protest, by the way, the gallery of Queen's Park, i.e. Ontario's legislature. And a bunch of protesters were there, young girls, mostly college females, go figure, being a pain in everyone's derriere, shouting, you know, no cuts, no fees, tuition should be free, no cuts, no fees. As far as I'm concerned, raise fees, raise standards, okay? There's an education bubble right now. We've made it too easy, too accessible. So we've got kids running in there and spending years and less money on getting useless gender study degrees, but I digress. So these kids pulled out a giant banner, and all of this is completely not cool within our legislature. So politicians go, if you want to be part of the democratic process and watch, that's great, but you can't break out whistles, you can't start chanting, you can't be wearing any of, you know, the partisan like buttons, etc. in the gallery. That's not what it's there for. It's not a propaganda viewing gallery. It's just a place where you can basically go watch our democracy at work. So as these young college women are being escorted out, one of the Chickie Poos decides to directly address Doug Ford, and I'm going to play you the clip right now from a journalist here, Travis Danraj, who says in his tweet, he says, Doug Ford can, quoting her, Doug Ford can kiss my ASS, okay? But he doesn't mention the fact that she calls him an effing cracker. So I'm going to turn this around and we're going to watch it together. Hold on. All right, you should be able to see it there. Pump the volume here, and we can watch it more than once. Here we are. Did you catch that? Let's do it one more time. You see, here, let's see if I can blow this up a little bit. You'll see this girl over here yell, she points and she says, "You're an effing cracker." You know that? Well. Now, can I tell you something? There are a lot of people of color who sit in our little provincial legislature. Can you imagine if a white woman of college age called one of them an N-word or some other slanderous racial verbal assault, it would make national and maybe even international headlines. There would be outrage everywhere. We talk about the rising tide of racism in university campuses. But here's a dirty little secret. There's an accepted rising tide of anti-white racism on our campuses. And do you want to hear what our official opposition leader, one Andrea Horwath, who leads the NDP, she said in response to this? Did she say there's no place for racism in Ontario? This was wrong. The students might have a grievance, but this wasn't the way to air it out. She said, and I quote, "There's no doubt emotions are running high. Students are really worried." There's no doubt emotions are running high. Yeah, that always happens. When I get emotional, I get racist Tourette's. That's what happens. Doesn't that happen to you? Why are we making excuses for these folks? We saw the entire mainstream media make excuses for Jussie Smollett. We're allowing the entire mainstream media to portray these people from out west who just care about better jobs, closed borders, as literal pre-Nazis, neo-Nazis, proto-Nazis, anti-Semites, some of the most vulgar things you can call people. And now we're not going to pretend that a real racist verbal assault wasn't exactly what it was. It was just, kids who were rightfully upset because they want to go to school for free. It's insane. So I suppose the message I'm going to leave you with today is that we have to stop pretending that white people are full of racist rage, because it's just BS. And indeed, what we're seeing is a rising tide of people who are willing to take advantage of our stupidity and our weakness in standing up for ourselves. So to Doug Ford, I don't know where the press are, bud, but you were done wrong, and way to stand up to those students. They all deserve to have their mouths washed out with soap, and hopefully their books, frankly, turfed as well. And crazy time to be alive, folks. Okay, thanks so very much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Please head over to faithgoldie.ca/donations, faithgoldie.ca/donations if you want to help support my work. And make sure to subscribe over at Faith J. Goldie on YouTube. God bless you all. Mwah.